Hi, my name is Onatbash, and in this video, I'm going to show you how you can install KOReader Bluetooth plugin on your Kobo device. This plugin allows a user to use any kind of generic Bluetooth device as an additional set of buttons for your device so that you can map functions such as next page, previous chapter, brightness adjustments, font adjustments, whatever is supported in the plugin. The devices that we're going to go through in this video are going to be an 8bit2 micro, a generic Bluetooth sender such as this, a Kobo Clara 2E, and a Libra 2. This plugin does not support color variants such as Clara color or Libra color as of yet. So if you're watching for those, please take this under advisement. In order to start our installation, the first thing we have to do is put the plugin into the device. In order to do that, you're going to have to go into the GitHub page of the repository, which you can see here. The URL is going to be github.com/onatbus/bluetooth.koplugin. As soon as you're there, make sure you're under the main branch. Not that there's any branch right now, but just so that you can check. Go under code and download a zip. As soon as you download a zip, an archive folder will be given to you. So you can double click that and then unarchive it. If you're using a cable connection directly, you can just use your Kobo device as a USB device and dump the contents into the folder. In this instance, I'm just going to use FileZilla because I have access to FTP here. So let's wait for that to come up, and I'm going to get into my device. This. Okay. So as soon as you get in, hopefully you should see some familiar device tree here. You want to locate your KOReader installation path. People usually have it under .ads KOReader. So if this is your KOReader installation path, please use this for the rest of our instructions. But in my case, my installation path is under .KOReader. So I'm going to get in there. Under plugins, you will see a bunch of plugins that are actually pre-installed on your device. So you want to put the bluetooth.koplugin, the thing that we recently downloaded, into this folder. But before you do that, make sure that you delete the -main portion of the folder. Once you download something from GitHub, it usually puts the branch name at the end of the folder. You want to clean that up so that it is compatible with the structure KOReader is expecting. And once you have that, go ahead and just put it into the file or folder location. And let's see if we're good. All right, so everything is in there. There shouldn't be too many things. Like the only things that we're interested in are the main.lua, bank config if you're using banks, and the UHID folder. So we're going to leave it at that for the time being and go back into our device. So the first thing you want to do once you have put the plugin in, you want to reboot your device. Just KOReader is enough, not the entire device. So as soon as you come back, if you go into any book, let's go into this one, you will now see under network an additional folder that's called Bluetooth. So if you're familiar with the previous versions of the plugin, you will see that this is going to look a bit different. The first page I recommend that you go into if this is the first time you're doing the installation is go to the diagnostics menu, because in the diagnostics menu, you're going to get a bunch of checklists to see if there's anything missing with your device. It's going to run you through multiple diagnostic steps. It's going to check for your device type to see if your device is actually supported by this plugin. It's going to ask and check if your has keys flag is turned on. Usually, if you are working with a device that has embedded buttons, the has keys flag is going to be turned on, but in this case, we're working with a Clara where there is no buttons, and has keys flag is off by default in KOReader. We need that to be turned on because what we are doing essentially is registering Bluetooth-based buttons as directly as device buttons here. If this has a failed status, just like I do here, go ahead and click on it and press on correct automatically. This is going to apply a patch, and on our next reboot, this change is going to take effect. Let's go back to our diagnostics menu again. Input device path is going to check if, again, whether this device is supported. If it's a Kobo 2E or a Libra, we know exactly where the internal input paths are going to be. If it's anything else, then you may see fail status here. The plugin is going to try its best to figure out where the events can be found, but just know that if you're not one of the supported devices, you will likely see a cross here. The Bluetooth commands are identical to input device path. If you're working with a Kobo Libra 2 or a Clara 2E, you should see a check mark here because we know exactly the commands that we need to turn on Bluetooth, turn it off, turn on scans, and so on. So that's going to be fine. Event map will likely be crossed on first installations because, well, there will be no events that are mapped at the moment. If you click on it, there will be a correct action button here. If you press that, there will be a default event mapping that gets applied, and you can use it after that. So let's go back to our diagnostics menu again. Bank configuration, I'll get to that in a minute. You should always see a check mark here because we went through the normal installation. The bank_config.txt file is what this is looking for. This is not a mandatory requirement, but it's usually good to have there. Saved Bluetooth device means that this device currently doesn't have any Bluetooth device mappings. We'll get to that in a bit. And in the next page, you have the debug tools. We don't need them at this moment, but we'll get there. So let's go back and actually fix the last failed diagnostic tool that we have. You should usually see all of the marks to show you a check mark. Yeah, that'll make sure that your configuration is. So in order for us to fix this saved Bluetooth device, we obviously need to connect a Bluetooth device here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this generic device that I've used for many years. This only has one button support, even though it has two physical buttons. They all fire the same event. So I'm going to turn this on. This by default comes in pairing mode, so I'm lucky that way. I'm going to go into device management. I actually need to turn on my Bluetooth for the time being. Okay, Bluetooth turned on. Let's turn this off for a minute. Go under network, Bluetooth, device management. Now you should see all of these options are now enabled. I'm going to turn this back on. There is, so it should be under discovery mode. If I go Again, device management, select from scanned devices. You should see a bunch of devices here. This BOD202 is, I know for a fact, is this machine. So I'm going to on that. It will say device saved. And I need to go back. This is a one-time operation, so there's going to be a lot of back and forth, unfortunately. But now I can click connect to the saved device, and that's going to be enough. The last thing we want to do, if this is the first time you're doing the installation, you need to go back in there and do refresh device input. Now this is well, an internal setting, to be honest, but we need to tell the Kobo that there is now a Bluetooth device event listener available in the operating system. So we want the events to be registered if they're coming from there. So if I click on this, now the events must be registering. So we have our installation complete. So one thing I want you to understand is if you go into your Bluetooth setting and under Event Map Editor, you are going to see the default mapping of possible, well, not all possible, but a lot of predefined actions. These are Linux event codes that you should know whether your device is firing or not. I know for a fact that the machine that I am using is sending the key volume up message, which correspond to the number 115. So if I go into my last section or last page, you will see that 115 here is mapped to BT write. Write usually means next page in Kobo devices. So that's mainly the reason why when I press on this, I get next page events being triggered. I can change it by going in there. So event map editor. If you're not using any of the other events, you can just leave them there, or you can actually press on them and then delete mapping. It's going to be fine. Or can do is go into the event map editor again, press on the event, and then you can change it. Now you will see all the available actions that are supported by this plugin. So you can go ahead and choose anything you want. Let's being, I don't know, choose the night mode. Let's see, toggle night mode. So now every time I press on this, it's actually going to toggle between the night mode and so that's how you can configure your machine to do any custom operation that you want. If I go to my network again, under diagnostic, second page, you will now see a bunch of debug tools. The button press history is going to show you which buttons have been pressed. The fact that this says 0 is a bug, but if maybe it's not working right now. I'll fix that. But you should be able to see the button events that are being triggered by your machine, by your controller in this page. So now that I have all the check marks, obviously my my Bluetooth integration is working. So in a nutshell, that's what we're working with. The easiest way to get your Bluetooth machine, operational, I would suggest, is to do the full setup, or at least, using the Wi-Fi up module. The thing that you need to understand is, in order for Bluetooth to work on Kobo devices, the Wi-Fi needs to be turned on. It doesn't have to be connected to any network, but it needs to be turned on. So these commands allow you to orchestrate all of the steps you need to go through for your device to be operational. I usually put the full setup into a gesture on my machine, so that I can do one sweep and then it will do all the setup. So as an example, I'm going to turn my Bluetooth off, which is going to pair my device. If I go back into network Bluetooth, I can actually turn my Wi-Fi off just for the demo here. If I go to my Bluetooth and do full setup, what it's going to do is it's going to turn on Wi-Fi first, and then it's going to turn on Bluetooth first, and then it's going to connect to my device. It's going to turn on the event listener, and then it's going to turn off Wi-Fi, because you can actually turn off Wi-Fi after Bluetooth is set up, and it's going to preserve the battery life. I found much better. Now, as you can tell, I have just one click setup capability of my sender. And if you want to make this even quicker, what you can do is, well, I like to use the down corner, the lower corner sweep operations. So I can go into gesture manager, one finger swipe, and bottom edge right. Let's turn that into, for the time being, not this, but full Bluetooth setup, which is I just used. That goes through Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, device setup, and then it turns off Bluetooth. So I'll do that there. Then for the other, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put turn Bluetooth off. So with this setup, easily do this, which is going to turn my Bluetooth off. And then I can do this, which is going to go through the full setup of Bluetooth, and that's going to allow me quicker control. All right. There we go. Any questions, comments, please feel free to post them under the MobileRead forum post, or this video, or create a ticket in the GitHub repository. The best way to reach out, I would say, is to use the MobileRead forums, and I'll do my best to answer the questions as best as I can. In the next video, I am going to go through the bank setup and some of the more advanced features and utilities of the controller. And I hope you like it, and have a good day.